Hi, I am Stomtech, and as you probably know, Wiper is a very strong weapon in Splatoon 3. However, I'm here to tell you the best ways to counter it. Now, do take this with a little bit of grain of salt, because I am more on the casual side of Splatoon, but I create content because I like Splatoon, and I might be getting into content more in the future. Well, so keep an eye out for that. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy this content, and let's get into it. Now, Wiper has been around since the launch of Splatoon 3, and now there are two Wiper kits. One is clearly more aggressive, and the second one is more supportive, but now, heads up, Wiper has no static way of dealing with it. There's very little that one person can do that's like you can apply to every single Wiper. And this video is just a few things I noticed. However, when you're going against Wiper, really anything can happen at any moment. So there are two Wipers: the V Wiper, Vanilla Wiper, also known as Viper for short, and then there is Wiper Deco, and which is known as Diaper. There's some people who call it Wecco. We will not be calling it this in this video because that is cringe, and anyone who says otherwise is blasphemous. So there you go. Alright, let's get into it. So, Wiper has a variety of playstyles that can be done. This alternates between player to player. It's kind of like Splash, so every player can put a little bit of themselves in their playstyle. Of course, that's with most weapons, but with Wiper, it's even more proficient. You can have a complete Slayer focusing mostly on close combat and sometimes going to long range, or mid range more accurately, or you can have more Skirmisher, walking around the map using horizontal slashes or vertical slashes to start fights and sometimes get a kill. Or you can even lean into the more support role, because now Wiper paints pretty good, just long lines in front of it. So yeah, there's a variety of playstyles that can happen, and these are just like the Skirmisher, Slayer support roles. There are even more things that a Wiper player can be, and understanding when you're playing against someone, understanding how they're playing and like noticing those habits takes a lot of practice and a lot of skill and experience. So I can't really give expertise on how to find that because I'm not at that level myself. So I'm just gonna give more of a broad general overview. Now, they are the same weapon and so these stats are all the same, so just quick summary of them. Wiper's horizontal slashes are a 4-shot doing 30 damage each, and the vertical slash has a small wind-up type and a little bit of end lag, but not much, and it does 60 damage if it connects. However, the horizontal slash is just a tad bit wider than the vertical slash. And while the vertical slash has a little bit more range, you can get more horizontals out. That this little bit of startup and end lag will really come out when you're playing Wiper. Wiper is also one of the fastest main weapons in the entire game, to the point where Nintendo just made it so that run speed does not stack when using Wiper. When using the Wiper as a weapon, it does not stack. It does stack if you're just normal running. It does not stack while firing. Now, do not engage a Wiper in close range. First off, the vertical slash, while it takes some charge up, is a one-shot, and while you won't see Wiper players do this much, the horizontal slash actually can be a 2-shot, because the Wiper itself, while swinging, has a hitbox doing 55 damage, because it does 25 damage, but you're probably going to get hit by 55 because of the horizontal slash beam. They also have a dash forward, which lets them basically just run forward, completely ignoring enemy ink, and just come in and do a one-shot. However, the one-shot won't come out until the end of it, so it's entirely possible that they do the thing, miss, and then you'll be completely fine. They cannot stop it early. They have to they have to align themselves perfectly and run into you. Otherwise, it's not gonna hit. When you engage these wipers, usually you want to be either out of range, just inside of range if your weapon can kill fast enough, or just outside of one-shot range normally, but inside of the dash forward range. Now this is very interesting fighting the wipers. You want to stay mobile because the wiper is going to be too. You can sometimes actually confuse them if you're fast enough, although usually this doesn't work, especially at higher levels of play. And something to keep in mind is that, of course, wiper is a 4-shot, a 2-shot, or a 1-shot. The 2-shot, though, takes a little bit and is actually easy to miss. The projectiles aren't that fast. Get there fast enough, but not super fast though. So it's possible to dodge. So that means that you could potentially just take a hit and then just kill them for it. You can just entirely tank a shot and just try to kill them for it. Just bully your way, just push your way through it. I don't see a lot of people do this because, of course, Splatoon weapons in general have very fast kill times, and getting hit is usually lethal. However, wiper is one of the less lethal when it comes to the ranged projectiles. So if you can take the shot, well, take the hit, and then just hit them for it, and you'll probably be able to outkill them unless they get their 1 shot off, or you're already damaged. So like I said before, if you engage a wiper, you want to stay within the dash range, but outside of the 1-shot range. And this will help you stay mobile with being under less threat of it. Of course, though, wiper can still jump, turn around, and hit you. A lot of wiper players are very accurate.
What in God's name are you doing? Back off, you crazy bitch!
Please give me huggy wuggies. Ooh woo.
What the fuck are you saying?
As frontlines, it's going to be your job to deal with these wipers, and it's going to be very dangerous. Because actually, wipers can outrange a lot of you for some reason. Wipers can outrange a lot of shooters and just frontlines in general, which is actually super strange. However, of course, you're going to have faster kill time, so honestly, just try and tank the hit. That's all that I think is best for frontlines. And those who play at more of a mid-range kind of thing, try and keep an eye on the wiper, as in try to keep yourself and your teammates aware of the wiper at all times, and also stay a little bit mobile, but also stay out of wiper range. This involves knowing what the wiper range is, of course. I'll put a clip on screen. But basically, wiper can kill you with the mid-range options it has. However, you're probably going to be able to out-kill time it. You're probably going to have a faster kill time if you land your shots. So as long as it doesn't get too close, you should be okay. However, you still have to pay attention to it. And then backlines, your job is to keep this thing from getting this into your base at all, especially vanilla wiper, which I'll get into more detail later. Backlines, you have to be able to watch this thing. If you cannot watch this thing and keep it out and just outrange it, you're probably gonna lose, because you have to keep this thing back. Because this thing, if it picks off your front lines, you're a sitting duck, and it's gonna take you out. And it's gonna push up, and then you're gonna have to be stuck with your front lines as you're coming back to base. And also something that all classes and pretty much all weapons should watch out for is ledges and corners. Now corners, they can charge it up, jump around the wall, and then hit you for it. This is more commonly when you're engaging them, but you can also see wiper players do this pretty commonly when they come around a corner or just sharking. This is just, it's also just kind of a fail-safe move, as in you're trying to come around this wall, and then they just do it just in case there is someone come around the wall. And even if you're outside of one-shot range, you still could potentially get hit by vertical. And even if both of the attacks miss, you're probably gonna panic a bit, because there's, oh my gosh, there's a Splatana in front of me. I almost died. I should back up. But then you're also pretty close, so you can also just chase after you. In this situation, like that, doing that is okay. Back up, try to keep him, try to shoot him. But if they painted over you, or there's not enough paint on you, then it's gonna be harder for you to back up, and they can probably kill you for it. with this, you're either gonna have to take the hit or just react and try to kill him. That's the best thing I got for you there. And now ledges, you know this by now. If over 50% of the vertical slash is over a wall, it's just gonna go through the wall. This is most prominent on parts of Flounder Heights, especially when coming up and they just charge it over. And then this area of Hammerhead Bridge, and especially on Mako Mart. Mako Mart is ridiculous for Splatanas. It's ridiculous. Here, all I can say is do what you can, but you want to make sure there's no wipers next to the ledge. Make sure you create safe spots if you can. There's places where you can confidently say there's no one there. Otherwise, you're gonna come out and this just be like Splatana just ridiculous. Okay, now let's get into the specifics of the Splatana wipers. Starting off with Vanilla Wiper, the first wiper. This wiper has Torpedo and Ultra Stamp. Honestly, this is one of the best synergizing weapons in the entire game without being broken. Genuinely, it's actually insane. So, Torpedo combos, especially when you roll it on your feet, it can combo with the vertical slash. You always have to watch out for this. And this is easily the more aggressive of the two, just because of Torpedo. Torpedo helps with marking, applying pressure, it's a bomb, and it forces backlines to adjust a little bit. It's just something to keep an eye out for. And while it won't always just randomly kill people, it still possibly can, and it can still paint. It's only like about half of the wiper's ink tank. And what's more, when they throw it out, Torpedo always paints your feet when you throw it. So in minor niche cases, they can just throw Torpedo behind them, chasing them. If you're chasing them, they just throw Torpedo behind them, and there's a bomb in front of you. There's nothing you can do about it. Maybe you're damaged and you don't want to go through. And then they can use their horizontal slashes to just get away quickly. Or potentially, if they're daring enough, just vertical slash and try and get a combo off, and still probably be able to make it out fine. And now it has Ultra Stamp. Now Ultra Stamp, of course, when they pop it out, it's Ultra Stamp. They're just you're kind of dealing with Ultra Stamp, you're not dealing with Wiper anymore. However, Ultra Stamp is now a half-decent special, and Throw Mode is dangerous to backlines and pretty much anyone, particularly backlines, because that's most of what they're going to be throwing out. And Viper can get a lot of these. Its points for special isn't that high. It can get a lot of these. A lot of times, before Stamper was, fixed, Viper players would just grab Stamp and just throw it and then start farming another one. And the synergy with Torpedo and Viper helped carry the weapon and make it not like a bottom tier. It was, I think, staying around a mid-ish to high tier before Stamp got fixed, and now it's just a top tier weapon. So, of course, all these coming together, easily the more aggressive of the two, and this is the kind of wiper that's going to be wanting to try and get in, and whenever this is on the enemy team, you have to keep an eye on it and have to keep it back. Now, let's talk about Viper Deco. Now, Diaper was an interesting choice with Beacon and Tenta missiles. Now, of course, because of how much the Viper players could get Stamp, a lot of people thought this was the end of the world. But it doesn't have Torpedo, thankfully. So, since it doesn't have Torpedo, all the synergy is pretty much gone. It has Beacon, and it's not lethal. Of course, the main weapon, still very dangerous, still carries it. However, this leans it pretty hard all the way into the support category. Beacons to get your teammates back in, but also the main weapon paints pretty well, actually. And then, of course, missiles for displacement, location. I think overall, a lot of people would prefer Viper, but in certain niche cases, particularly in comp, Viper Deco is seen a lot more use than Viper. Well, not a lot more, just seen more use in certain niche cases and maps. Because Beacons, this is a weapon that can get in, but it's also a weapon, well, not get in, but the missiles are to get your teammates in. And then Beacon is to help get the teammates in sooner, and just in sooner in general, and you can place them in weird spots. But also on top of that, Viper, as a main weapon, can defend the beacons pretty well. It has enough range to keep some people back, enough paint to keep people back. It also can just play around corners to shark people if they try to go deal with the beacon. And that beacon also bring teammates in to go and help Diaper deal with people. Especially on tower control though, you can see beacon even be used as a small temporary shield, which if beacon had more health would be very, very annoying. Now with missiles, it's going to paint for missiles, it's going to shoot them out and then paint for more, and then those missiles your team has to deal with, and then the enemy team is going to have to push up on those missiles. And of course it's Wiper, so it's still dangerous and it's still the most mobile firing weapon in the entire game. So it can put down a lot of threat and pressure all at once. However, without the torpedo, it doesn't have the torpedo combo. It doesn't have location, it can't force you to look in other directions. So this thing, it doesn't get in quite as much and doesn't really want to get in quite as much. You can find Diapers pretty much just sticking around objective, and especially on zones and tower, these things can be particularly annoying. But overall, they're just less aggressive. Okay, so how you counter Wiper Deco specifically is that when there's a beacon there, I recommend that you just throw a bomb at it, and usually, since it's such a mobile weapon, it can usually place beacons in more aggressive spots. Of course, this isn't going to happen all the time because it doesn't have a torpedo or a bomb. It has less tools to really get in and push up, and if it has missiles, then you already know where it is. But I recommend if there is a beacon there in a somewhat aggressive spot, throw a bomb at it. That way you can watch it. And then what happens is that, best case scenario, there's no one there, and then the bomb blows up and destroys the beacon too. And then, or if there is a Wiper Deco sharking there looking for a kill because you are trying to go and take care of the beacon, you're probably gonna die because it still has a one-shot, or even just be caught off guard and then killed. So I recommend you do that. Other than that, you're pretty much just dealing with missiles and a beacon, and then the Wiper Deco main weapon. It's not really like coming together all at once like with the Viper. It's just here, here, and here. And usually Wiper Deco, they'll be like around, and then if your teammate gets into a fight nearby, they'll try to help, so be ready for that. But for the most part, just do what I said before with the general Wiper overview, and just throw bombs at beacons and just be careful in general. Of course, they are still dangerous, and yeah, that's Diaper. Don't call it Wacko. Call it Diaper. So that wraps it up for the specifics. I'm just going to give a quick summary, and then I'm done talking for 20 minutes now. So, summary, the most important part of the video was the overall. The main weapon hard carries the kits. The kits are just there to synergize with it, but none of the kits are too strong. You'll notice that a lot with a lot of weapons in this game is that the kits either make or break the weapon. Just look at H3. You know, the first kit, absolute garbage, people hate on it. Second kit, it's okay, has potential, just not a lot of people are pushing it. You always have to be careful around ledges and corners. Wiper also has a variety of playstyles that can be done, and is just overall a very versatile weapon. That's why there's so many Wiper mains out there. If you can, try to keep it back, and you want to keep an eye on this thing as much as possible. That way it can't just get around corners and just do its weird slicing beam thing. And also, if you're a frontline, you gotta stay outside of the one-shot range, but within the dash range. That way its one-shot is more. They have to work a little bit harder for the one-shot. And then it's entirely possible for you to just take the hit and then just kill them for it. Or at the very least, I forgot to say this before, at the very least, you can trade. You should be able to trade with a Wiper. Wiper Deco, if there's a Wiper Deco on the enemy team, and there's a beacon, try throwing a bomb and see what happens. And then Viper's the more aggressive one, and Diaper's the more supportive one. And yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say. Let me down in the comments what you think about these two kits, and let me know if there's any strategies that you use to counter the Wiper terrors. I'm kind of burnt out. This was all done in one session. Alright, anyway, I have a Twitter you can follow me on. You can also join my public Discord, although that's kind of dead. And then, yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Peace. Have a nice day.